Hey, hi there. I've been thinking a lot about color connections. So, this idea of creating garden scenes that, are bound together by a continuing color thread. And it's occurred to me that, one of these things, I can talk about it and I can try and show it. But it occurs to me that, the camera is never going to actually be able to show what the eye sees and what the body feels. So I'm going to try and uh, look at it slightly differently in this little video. And because I've been sitting here and I've been sitting in my garden and I've been looking at some of the scenes that are just really making me happy and realizing that it's almost impossible for me to capture that as a photo for me to show you that. So I'm going to do a kind of a video and show you maybe a different way for you to think about making these color connections and combinations in your garden, and just kind of really exploring the idea that what our eye sees is very different than what the camera sees. The video can do slightly better, but really it's our eyes move through a garden space so quickly, and they bounce from here, they bounce from there, and that by doing so, um, that is what kind of holds it together. So let's see if I can illustrate that a little bit by just showing you what I'm talking about. Just a few really subtle scenes in my garden. All right, hold on. So this is where I've been sitting and having my morning coffee over the last several days as I've been thinking about this. And garden is beginning to wake up. No, it's definitely early spring here in Portland. Uh, so just at this point, I'll tell you I'm in Portland, Oregon, which is USDA Zone 8B. It is May 3rd of 2023, and we have had a very, very slow start to uh, the season. Um, our spring has been very slow in coming, very cool. So some things that we're seeing are interesting in the sense that last year it would have occurred like several weeks earlier. But aside from that, I'm going to try and show you a couple of things that have just been really, I don't know, getting to me. All right, so it's in the details. There's a little daffodil here that I'm very much loving. It's a first year that I've had this one in my garden. And you can just see it's got that subtle peachy edge. It's got some pink blush, or excuse me, some peachy blush at the edges. And I've got that repeated through the garden in a couple of different locations. Here's one. And then behind me, I've got, you know, go back and kind of enter the garden in this way. So that one is visually linked to the other. So I bounce from here to I bounce to there. And then as I'm, maybe I'm standing here, the other thing, that little peachy tone and the lightness and the brightness of those spring colors kind of do an echo there. That is very peach, very pink, you know. That pink is then picked up by little heucheras that are coming to life. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we see. I'm just trying to do this as I'm standing at one location. Little heuchera there, another one over there. And my eye is taking all of this in much more quickly than a camera could. I've got continuing threads of light and bright. That's a grass that's emerging. We saw that daffodil. In the far back, we've got that Wigelia Monet that's starting to wake up. So that kind of goes through. I've got spots and pools of yellow. Yellow there. bounces to yellow over here, bounces to yellow back there. So those first two were grasses. Now we've got that bleeding heart. And then we bounce around and we've got that yellow again, another grass. And there, another grass back there, and so on. Also bouncing around is a blue. And I'll use that one to illustrate that it's not always about plants. You know, this when we're trying to tie a scene together, sometimes it's about accessories or maybe bonding it to your house. So my studio doors are that blue. I kind of call it vacation blue, which to me means something to me. Won't mean anything to you, but it always reminds me of uh, just being in a sunny and kind of warm tropical place. So that's my vacation blue. uh, and so it is echoed in some of the container choices. There's that one. And then back here, there's actually a chair kind of in that blue. And we've got accessory pillows in blue and more blue containers I'm actually showing you right now. So now let's talk about a different color that's bouncing around. So we've got the orange E-tone, which kind of then almost makes this Weigelia that we looked at feel kind of orangey. Those two in the morning light really speak to each other. Then we bounce back. Whoops, sorry, back in. Then we got that rhododendron that we looked at. Then we go up here, we've got a strong focal point, kind of in orangey, pinky tones, that accent in the container. And then actually, this is my, I love my table, but it's kind of like an odd man out. It's this orange. And I don't have a lot of orange really in my garden, but I love my table. So I look for ways to make my table make sense. So this container isn't planted yet, but I'll take some of the oranges and I'll try and include them in some of the containers around in this area. And I'm not quite done with all of that yet. But even at a distance, that Formium over there kind of reads melony orange or something like that. And then you can kind of see if I can get it in the same angle. So my table starts speaking to that back there. So I'm not sure if this is making sense. I'll have to listen to it again and see if it does. But it really is what I'm thinking about right now is the fact that our eyes and our bodies see more than what the camera or the video ever can convey. And that sometimes I don't always take photos of things that are really pleasing me or interesting me because I get distracted by the ground that's not covered, and it's like, oh, that's a gap in my photo. I don't want to take a photo of that. But it doesn't mean I haven't been enjoying that section of the garden. Like even here where I've got a lot of blank ground still, there's a lot that is actually happening in real life that a photo is not going to capture. So I hope that this type of I don't know, message or thinking helps you kind of look at your garden in fresh ways. I mean, because here we are back here, I got a lot of bare ground still, but I have to tell you, I've been walking around every night and just loving being in my garden. And just as the season goes on, and you know we move from spring into summer, it's going to change. But I'm always looking for ways to make those scenes kind of hold together. I've never really thought of myself as a plant collector, like you know, collecting uh, just for the sake of collecting plants. But I have come to realize that I do collect a lot of plants. I grow a lot of plants in my garden. Um, but what, and I like to do that. And I probably um, grow more individual plants than a lot of gardeners because I don't know. I just have this curiosity, and I always want to touch and feel them and grow them. Um, but I also have a strong desire to create a space that is artful and interesting and pleasing to the eye. And so that's kind of the theme of what I'm trying to do in my garden is that I, I want to grow a lot of plants, but I want my garden to actually hold together and be cohesive and interesting and beautiful to look at and to be in. So. Uh, Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.